Vikram Sood, thanks a lot for speaking to CNN News 18. You must have heard just a short while ago, the Prime Minister made a very big statement announcing the intent of the government and the
Mhm.
extent to which it is willing to go to respond to the Pahalgam attack. One of the key statements that the Prime Minister talked about was that the remaining land being used for terror has to be destroyed. How do you see this statement by the Prime Minister?
Well, the remaining land, you know what it means. We all know what it means. It probably refers to POK, because since that is being used for terrorism as a route into Jammu and Kashmir, so translated, I suppose that's what it means. And that's a pretty big statement coming from on high. I mean, you and I can keep saying, but when the Prime
Mm.
Minister says this, there is only one meaning to it, to my mind. And,
You're absolutely right. Many of us felt it referred to POK. You feel the same. And as you said, that this is a big statement coming from the leader of the state himself.
yeah.
But I want to understand from you, as the former RAW chief, how easy or difficult is it to reclaim POK if that is what we're talking about?
Well, I think that is better answered by those in position today. I can only speculate.
Hmm.
My speculation goes back to strengths and observations 20 years ago.
Hmm.
So I'm horribly out of date about strength positions, except what I read in the papers. So the Pakistan army is not to be written off.
Hmm.
And so it is not as if it's going to be a cakewalk. And beyond that, I don't know whether what are we actually implying by this taking over.
But if you were to stick to this, that indeed the PM could mean POK. I just want to expand this to what NSA Ajit Doval is also on record to say, and that clip is going viral again, where he said that if you attempt again another 2611, you lose Balochistan.
Mhm.
Do you think India will also exercise those options? Because both the Balochistan area and some other areas in Pakistan are creating a lot of problem for them for the other front.
Uh, Again, a very difficult question to me because I think support to Balochistan it's not an easy thing to sustain from here. So I doubt if we will go for this kind of a thing. It can be a threat, but to actually implement, it's going to be not easy.
Not easy. So, according to you, what are the most viable options available in front of India? Because diplomatic options have been announced and exercised, but there is clearly an intent and an announcement of something militarily. We have done surgical strikes and airstrikes in the past. More of the same, or do you think we can go further this time?
No, I'm not sitting in the war room, so I don't know what.
Sure, sure. But according to your
But
intelligence and
if
experience,
we're talking in terms of escalation, it only means one thing. Thinking of escalation, it means only one thing. And stopping terror by killing terrorists is not going to solve the problem. Terrorists in the Pakistani eye are expendable. Even organizations are expendable. If Jaish-e-Mohammed or Lashkar-e-Taiba goes rogue or is the price to be paid, they'll shut it down or worse.
mhm,
That is not the issue. Terror is not going to be controlled by killing just a terrorist. As a matter, I mean, nowhere in the world it has died down.
mm,
So, for us also, it means that you have to get to the source. Who supplies? Who gives weapons? Who gives money? Who gives shelter? Who trains? You have to get there, no?
mhm.
The fountainhead, where everything flows from. So, are we ready for that?
Are you asking, are we ready for that?
I am asking too, are we ready for that? I don't know, frankly. But is the nation ready for that?
Because the PM has also mentioned, and he chose his words very carefully, not just those who conducted the terrorist attack, but those who provide the support, the fountainhead that you're talking about. The PM also very categorically mentioned that today. So
Yeah.
clearly the intent is there.
Yeah. So we are looking at a very stern warning. I don't think I've heard this kind of a warning ever before. I mean, we've talked, politicians and everybody else has gone around and saying, ugly bare, oh, that sort of thing. But is this just anger of the moment? Or is this anger, cold anger, as you would call it, that never forget, never forgive?
Yes.
So if you've got that, then it means something else.
It means war.
It means conflict anyway. So that is the idea one would get from this kind of a comment, that we are ready.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know even the public talks about an all out conflict all the time, especially in the aftermath when such an attack takes place. And as you say, anger is pretty high. But this is a question the government would also have to
Yeah, because
ponder upon.
we can't just let momentary anger decide decisions. In the heat of the moment, you take a decision. I'm sure there has to be some cold thinking about all this.
So if you were indeed in the war room, what would your sense be? Because situation with Pakistan hasn't really changed much 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Yes,
It'll
capabilities are
never change.
different.
It'll never
But
change.
what
Situation.
would your sense be of what India can do and should do?
You have to isolate Pakistan by isolating it yourself first. Anyone who deals with Pakistan doesn't deal with us. Then they have to make a choice whether they want to continue dealing with Pakistan and have trade with us and mollycoddle Pakistan at the same time. Won't work. So you trade with us, you don't deal with them. You have to make sure that the ideal is that it should come to its senses without firing a bullet. I doubt if that will happen. They are so carried away by this Ghazwai in this chap,
Yes.
your chief of staff was talking about two riyasats. One was Riyasat in Medina and the other one is in Pakistan. So that's the mindset they're coming from. And it's not as if it's not a switch on, switch off situation. Okay, आज बोल दिया तो ठीक है, we are good Muslims. We are moderate, so we are good Pakistanis, no war. No, it's been too far ingrained in them, particularly the armed forces, I think, because they have to do battle. So they'll have to find their own ways of handling this. Is this just a bluff from the general? Is he pushing us to make these statements so that he can turn around and be the victim and seek help? As it is, the New York Times is calling this the attack in India's controlled Kashmir. I mean, they haven't changed their announce a word since the whole thing started 70 years ago.
Even BBC.
Yeah, BBC, they all have that thing. So do we need international support? If we need, what kind of support we'll get from where? Look, even these Muslim countries, the Islamic countries, haven't favored this attack.
Yes.
And our relations with the West Asian nations is pretty good these days. So Pakistan probably feels that it is slipping from its hands. It has to do something now. It must kill the tourist industry. It must send fear. You know, you kill tourists from different parts of the country, the story spreads all over the country.
Yes.
So you want to create fear. Is fear the answer to your problems? No. He himself has his own problems. He's probably diverting attention.